Coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Get the info on staying safe while using rideshare services.
See a recap of this year's QTHON Dance Marathon and how Quinnipiac is celebrating Women's History Month.
Also get the story on an ESPN content creator's visit to Quinnipiac.
All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Welcome back to Studio 125 for the Q30 Newscast. I'm Patrick Sorbero.
And I'm Rose Carrata. Quinnipiac's Department of Public Safety released a warning to students after a recent off-campus sexual assault. Amari Smith is here to tell us more.
This past weekend, Public Safety sent out a school-wide email highlighting rideshare safety in light of a recent incident in Bridgeport. But even if the incident didn't happen here, rideshare safety is just as important.
Something might happen in Bridgeport relative to a rideshare. That doesn't mean it couldn't impact our region, because those same drivers could service our region or service our communities, right?
Chief Tony Reyes speaks on the initial email as well as what's being done to ensure safety.
I think we have a responsibility under Title IX and to provide timely warning about anything that could impact our community from a safety perspective.
Public safety is here to help, but part of the responsibility is also on the individual getting the ride to make the right call.
If I'm right here, I can trust that there's services, but if I'm not here, I don't think they can assist me in an orderly manner.
Students shared their thoughts on rideshare safety and accessibility to appropriate resources on campus.
I think we could just go to public safety pretty easily. We can access them when we want and feel safe.
Yeah, I would agree. Every entrance you can get into, there's always an officer somewhere, and then you got the blue light things too. So
I always feel confident reaching out to other people, public safety, whether it's people that are just there to help you. I'm always comfortable reaching out to them if I have problems, so yeah.
Ultimately, the incident in Bridgeport serves as a reminder to always practice safety and caution when getting in a car with a stranger.
We have nice information on our website under the safety tab of our public safety, of the public safety website on MyQ, that has a lot of information specific to rideshare programs and some of the things that you can do to ensure your safety. Go in there, be proactive about that, and make sure that you're taking those steps.
Public Safety plans to continue relations with local law enforcement as well as implement informational resources to ensure the safety of the campus. Reporting from Hogan for Q30 News, I'm Amari Smith.
Last Thursday at Whitney Center, Hamden Mayor Adam Sendroff delivered his State of the Town address as well as his economic development outlook. The address was sponsored by the Energize Connecticut Community Partnership Initiative and provided, quote, a valuable opportunity for local businesses, leaders, and community stakeholders to hear directly from Mayor Sendroff about Hamden's economic landscape, key initiative, and future development plans, end quote. The mayor additionally held a breakfast the day before to address the town budget and answer any questions that community members had.
If you live in Connecticut, make sure you don't forget to turn your lights off at night. The state had the second highest electric bills in the nation in 2025. Now, Connecticut only saw a 3.8% increase in annual electric bills since 2024, but consumers still paid an average of $2,485, about $700 more than the national average. The state had the second highest average, just 98 less per year than Hawaii. This increase has been consistent in Connecticut since 2020. In the last 5 years, the annual average cost of electricity increased 28.2%.
This week is class registration week for Quinnipiac students. Students will register for Summer 1, Summer 2, and Fall 2026 this week. For some, registration has already passed, but for those of you that still have to register, make sure to check your date and time on self-service so you know exactly when to register. Plan your classes in advance and be ready to refresh self-service when it's your time. Quinnipiac hosted their 15th annual QTHON, a 7-hour dance marathon that helps raise money for the Connecticut Children's Foundation. Q30's Riley Farrell has more on the event.
This Saturday, Quinnipiac's annual dance marathon, QTHON, was held in this building just behind me. The event lasted 7 hours with the goal of raising money for Connecticut Children's Hospital. After a long day of dancing and fundraising, the final reveal of the amount of money raised surpassed all expectations. The number on your screen is that final reveal.
It was really amazing to be able to see the number. Our goal this year was 200,000, so being able to surpass that by 47,000 was really crazy and insane.
Having not really seen that number climb throughout the year, not being able to see that behind the scenes, look, I was surprised. I knew we did good, but I didn't think we did that well.
The number was surprising to more than just the management team, as this year the event raised $67,000 more than last year, meaning fundraising increased by about 37%. This is a trend that the management team hopes to see continue.
This is the highest we've raised since 2019, so that was really amazing to see, and we would love to just continue growing that fundraising throughout the next coming years.
This year's growth can mainly be attributed to the extra hour that was added, increasing the event's duration from 6 to 7 hours.
I definitely think that hour was very beneficial, and my fear from it going into it was kind of, are people going to be tired and leave? But I think we saw probably even greater attendance than we had last year.
Following QTHON's conclusion, the money that was raised goes to the Greatest Needs Fund at Connecticut Children's Hospital. From there, the money will go wherever it is most needed, whether it be research, supplies, or direct patient care. Members of QTHON are then able to see the impact that their fundraising makes.
To receive those graphs and kind of see where exactly our money was helping people and families and those kids get the care that they need.
We've also been able to go on tours of Connecticut Children's and be able to see the actual impact.
Springer and Basile are planning on joining QTHON's alumni team in 2027. Further plans for next year are already being made as the position of executive director is being filled and the entire management team is being built once more. Reporting from Reckwell for Q30 News, I'm Riley Farrell.
This Tuesday, University President Marie Harden presented the third part of the Strategic Visioning Community Forum. The forum takes input from students and faculty across the QU community through surveys, listening sessions, and campus engagement. Harden's presentation dictated a draft of QU's strategic direction using feedback from students, faculty, and alumni. The event also allowed for audience members to contribute to the discussion and share ideas using the software Slido.
Quinnipiac's Spring 2026 Student Government Association election will be taking place soon. Here's what you need to know. Multiple SGA election info sessions will take place in the coming weeks. If you want to be eligible to run in the election, you must attend an info session. The next session is on Friday at 1 p.m. and it will be held in SB 108. There are multiple positions open across the executive board. The elections will be held on Tuesday, April 14th, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to SGA Vice President of Operations, Alyssa DeWitt.
On Monday, Quinnipiac held an information session for the Dementia Friends organization. The global movement originated in the UK, but has spread its influence all the way to Connecticut. The event served to inform attendees about the core values of the organization, as well as give some insight into living with dementia. The Dementia Friends organization aims to help people understand what the disease is and how it affects people, as well as inform the community on how they can make a difference.
You know, Patrick, I have to say, all of these spring showers have been really bumming me out. Do you like the rain?
No, I can't say I'm a huge fan, Rose. I've been hoping to play some golf this week, so let's hand it over to Luke Kraut for the 3-day forecast.
Thanks, guys. It looks like spring is finally coming around the corner. Today, we're going to be partly cloudy. It's going to be a high of 50, low of 40, but tomorrow, Thursday, high of 63, low of 47. Perfect time to put on your shorts. Maybe play some baseball. MLB coming around the corner. Friday is going to be cloudy, high of 50, low of 27. When we come back after our break, I'll have my 7-day forecast and a look around Connecticut.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
Do you enjoy Quinnipiac sports?
I just keep leaving to pick Paige Girardi over Carson Martin. I think
Floor general, absolute glue guy on the court.
Then Bobcat Breakdown is the place for you.
'Twas the night of Bobcat Breakdown, and all through the suite, all the producers were running around, getting ready for show of the week.
I brought mittens because I think that half of this take is cold. I think us Anthonys think alike because I have the exact same idea as you.
Tune in to Bobcat Breakdown every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on Q30TV.com/watch.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Welcome back. In 1987, March was first nationally recognized as Women's History Month in the United States. That proclamation has persisted for almost 3 decades now as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month to this day.
Sophia DeBona
March
is
is
here to
Women's
discuss
History
how
Month,
Quinnipiac
an
has been
extremely
embracing
important month
Women's
to
History
celebrate on a March is Women's History Month, an extremely important month to celebrate on a campus that is majority women. With tensions rising around the globe, it's important to acknowledge this month.
Women have been oppressed in history for quite some time, and it's important to acknowledge all the important things that we have contributed.
Considering everything that's been going on politically, I think there's been more female presidents running, there's been more female representation, and I think now more than ever we need to keep it up.
On a much smaller scale, students recognize how important it is to celebrate Women's History Month around campus.
Finding a community where you feel supported and heard is very important. Recognizing Women's History Month helps bring those different opportunities for females on campus.
Everybody, from students to staff to professors. Women have brought amazing things, so like organizations like clubs.
One organization has organized numerous events to celebrate this month, Women Empowered.
We last week hosted a Women's History Month trivia event. Every other week we've hosted events that raise awareness on other topics as well.
However, women around campus believe the university could do more for bringing awareness to the month, not just student-run organizations.
For the month specifically, they could definitely hold some more events or do some more just appreciation.
So I know there are some organizations that have hosted events. I know SPB did one sharing stories from females, and the Pre-Health Professional Society also hosted an event making packages to provide for women's shelters. Quinnipiac can always do more for students on campus, and not just for students but for faculty as well, and the female faculty, in celebrating them and all that they do for Quinnipiac as well.
Women's History Month is important for everyone to celebrate regardless of gender. Reporting from the Quad for Q30 News, I'm Sophia DeBona.
Now that spring is finally upon us, it's time to get ready for spring cleaning. Throughout this week, Handprints for Sunshine is holding tabling sessions where they will be collecting cleaning supplies to be donated to the Ronald McDonald House in New Haven. The organization offers annual community service opportunities for QU students, such as a toy drive, a diaper and period product drive, and the aforementioned spring cleaning drive. If you have supplies you would like to donate, Handprints for Sunshine will continue their collections this Thursday and Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in SC 114.
Yesterday during Common Hour, the QU Biomedical Science Club hosted a wellness kit making event in the Piazza. The kits will be donated to the New Reach Homeless Shelter to help support the homeless community. The event was an opportunity to give back to the greater New Haven area and earn service hours. If you want to stay updated on future events like these, you can follow the QU BMS Club on Instagram.
Also yesterday during Common Hour, a life skills workshop was held in SB 270, the School of Business Auditorium. This workshop specifically focused on budgeting and personal finance, preparing students for monetary management that can apply to their pre- and post-grad lives. If you have any questions about this workshop or future workshops, please contact Kirsten Webb. Between airport security concerns and global energy, there's plenty to talk about for this week's national politics. Here with more is Janelle Maldonado.
Here are the latest political headlines for this week. Lawmakers are dealing with a major funding standoff in Washington. President Donald Trump is rejecting a proposed deal to end the Department of Homeland Security funding standoff. As airport delays continue to worsen nationwide, the proposal would have funded most of the DHS, but the plan leaves out immigration and customs enforcement, which Democrats want reformed before approving more funding. Instead, Trump is pushing to link any deal to strict voter ID laws, delaying negotiations further. Meanwhile, hundreds of TSA workers have quit or called out after missing paychecks, leading to hour-long lines at airports across the country. Delays are continuing as lawmakers rush to reach a deal. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is taking up a major case that could impact how mail-in ballots are counted in upcoming elections. At the center of the dispute is whether states can count mail-in ballots that have arrived after Election Day, as long as they are postmarked on time. The case could impact more than a dozen states with similar rules. Conservative justices raised concerns about election integrity, while liberal justices say states should have flexibility in how they run elections. A decision is expected by summer, just before the 2026 midterm elections. Global events are also having an impact. The ongoing conflict in Iran is driving up gas prices worldwide. As attacks on major energy facilities disrupt supplies, strikes on key natural gas sites in Iran and Qatar have damaged infrastructure, cutting into global natural gas production. At the same time, shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical route for about 20% of the world's energy, has been disrupted, adding pressure to the markets. Experts warn that if the conflict continues, high gas prices could last for months, impacting everything from transportation costs to everyday consumer goods. That's all I have for this week's political headlines. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Janelle. Well, Patrick and I are going to take a quick break here at the desk, but when we come back, we'll have our 7-day forecast.
Stick with us. I hear we have a cheesy story for you after the weather. The Q30 Newscast will be right back after this commercial break.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
From Hamden to Hollywood.
We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. For those of you just joining us, I'm Rose Carrata.
And I'm Patrick Sorbero. Well, Rose, we're up to speed with the forecast for the next few days, but what does next week have in store for us?
Luke is back in studio with our full 7-day forecast. Tell us, Luke, are there clear skies in our future?
Thanks, guys. I already gave you the first 3 days of the 7 days, so we're going to head into the weekend where the spring weather does go on a brief hiatus. We're looking at 39 as the high, 27 as the low on Saturday, partly cloudy again on Sunday. It's going to be 48 as the high, 37 as the low. But when we turn the corner to the beginning of next week, Monday, it's going to be 58 and 43. Good to take the shorts out again. And 55 and 40, partly cloudy on Tuesday. Now we'll look around Connecticut. In Torrington, it's going to be high 66 and 44. The east coast of Connecticut, it's going to be getting a little bit of rain, 62 and 48 in Norwich. And New London along the coastline is going to be 56, 47. New Haven about the same. Stamford a little bit warmer, 66 and 49. That's all I have for the weather. But I do have a question for you guys on desk. What's your guys' favorite spring activity?
Thanks, Luke. You know, I have to say, spring sports games are just so fun. I spent today's beautiful sunny weather at a baseball game, and I loved it.
You know, I mentioned before, I'm excited to get outside and play some golf. You know, that's how I like to spend my time in the spring.
Well, interestingly enough, all the snow we've gotten over the past few weeks has supposedly provided ample shelter for ticks in the Connecticut area. The Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station has already started receiving ticks for testing over the last month. The National Pest Management Association has also warned the American population to expect more ticks as the weather grows warmer.
Ticks can carry Lyme disease across the U.S. More than 89,000 cases of Lyme disease were reported in the latest surveillance data for the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So make sure to check yourself for ticks and be ready to expect more of them. And now, some news for all the cheese fans out there. Yesterday, the International Business Club held a meeting with QU's very own Cheese Club. The Cheese Club was recently created this past fall semester, and the meeting allowed attendees to taste various cheeses from around the world, as well as showcasing their diverse cultures and learning about the ways they are produced. If you're interested in joining the Cheese Club, you can find meeting information on qu.campuslabs.com.
On Monday, March 23rd, the Crafting at QU Club held a book sale for Quinnipiac students. They set up a table outside Starbucks in the Piazza from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. with books available to purchase. The prices range from $1 to $10 to provide accessible options for students. If you want updates or information about any of the club's upcoming events, you can follow them on Instagram at Crafting at QU. There's been a lot happening in the U.S. over the past week, so here to give you your weekly national news is Melissa Sheehan.
Thanks, guys. Now let's shift our focus and take a look at some of the major stories making headlines across the country. Starting with the developing situation in New York, where an Air Canada plane collided with a fire truck at LaGuardia Airport Sunday night, leaving 2 pilots dead and more than 40 passengers and crew members hurt. The incident occurred as the plane was landing, striking the fire truck at over 100 miles per hour. This tragic event shut down the airport for hours and caused major disruptions in flight operations. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are on the ground looking into the cause of the crash, and we're expecting more information to come out in the days ahead. The FAA and Canadian authorities are also part of the investigation team, with dozens of investigators already at the scene. Moving to Washington, where the Senate has confirmed Markwayne Mullin as the new Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Mullin, a Republican senator from Oklahoma, was confirmed by a 54-45 vote, despite controversy and opposition over his qualifications and temperament. Mullin replaces former Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired after ICE agents were involved in the fatal shootings of 2 American citizens in Minneapolis. Mullin's confirmation comes at a crucial time, with the government shutdown entering its 6th week. Democrats and Republicans remain at a standstill over funding for the department, with much of the stalemate centered around ICE and Border Patrol policies, as TSA agents and other DHS employees continue to work without pay. The pressure is on Mullin to bring some kind of resolution to this deadlock. Back in D.C., a U.S. Park police officer was ambushed and shot while in an unmarked car Monday night. The officer, who was seriously wounded in the shoulder, managed to drive a short distance before pulling over and getting first aid. Federal authorities, including the FBI, are now assisting in the investigation as the gunmen remain at large. The ambushing of the officer happened during an ongoing investigation, but the circumstances of the attack are still unclear. The officer was airlifted to a local hospital and is in serious but stable condition. This incident is under active investigation, and law enforcement is determined to bring those responsible to justice. And that's a look at some of the stories making headlines across the country. Back at you at the desk.
Well, it's time to take our final break of the evening, but don't go anywhere. Patrick Walsh will be here to fill us in on Quinnipiac sports when we return.
And we'll also hear about an interview held on campus with popular ESPN influencer Katie Feeney. The Q30 Newscast will be right back.
Left for Vidicek. Vidicek walking in. Shot. Save made. Rebound. Score!
Did you miss this goal last night? No worries. We got you covered.
Antonin Varel gets the puck to Ethan Winbach in front of the net. He puts it past Alvin Peya.
Every team, every game.
She shoots it blocker side into the net.
All the news, highlights, and more.
First year connection. Ty Turner to Keith McKnight.
This is Sports Pause. Monday nights at 9:30, only on Q30 Television.
Anybody want a package?
Don't worry, sir, baby.
Yeah.
And you want to breathe.
He got into some sloppy situations.
Uncle Aaron's locked up for touching all those kiddos.
Here comes the boom.
Boom!
Quinnipiac Tonight is Q30's premier sketch comedy show. Watch it live every other Thursday at 9:30 in the Piazza, or tune in online at q30tv.com/watch.
Clap if you care.
Welcome back. As we transition into the spring season, some winter sports are in postseason mode and spring sports are in full spring.
Patrick Walsh is here to fill you in on all of Quinnipiac's most exciting sports news.
Thanks, Rose and Patrick. Here's all that happened in Quinnipiac sports this past week. Legendary women's basketball head coach Trisha Fabry's 31-year career at Quinnipiac came to an end over the weekend as the Bobcats were eliminated in the second round of the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament by the Stanford Cardinal, losing 81-69 Sunday. The Bobcats fought all game, even bringing the score within 5 in the final minutes, only for the Cardinal to pull away. 6 Cardinal players scored in double figures, with Chloe Clardy and Alexander Eschmeyer leading the way, both scoring 18 points, with the team shooting over 50% from the field. Anna Foley led Quinnipiac with 24 points off the bench, while Ella O'Donnell scored 17. Fabry's run with the Bobcats comes to an end after 31 years in which he tallied 544 wins, ranking 12th among Division I head coaches active this season, along with 5 NCAA tournament appearances, including a run to the Sweet 16 in 2017. The men's ice hockey team was given a berth to the NCAA tournament and were selected for the Sioux Falls Regional, taking place at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The Bobcats were given a 3 seed and will take on the 2 seed Providence Friars Thursday at 5 p.m. Providence won the Hockey East regular season title, but similarly to the Bobcats, missed the conference tournament finals. They are led by John Mustard and Roger McQueen, who have 28 and 27 points respectively. The winner of this game would take on the winner of the game between the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, currently second in the USCHO's National Power Index, and the Merrimack Warriors, who went on a Cinderella run to win the conference tournament as the 8th and last seed. That game's puck drop is scheduled for 8:30 p.m. Thursday. Back on campus, the acrobatics and tumbling team returned to the bank for the first time since February 9th, defeating the Long Island University Sharks 270.830 to 226.350. The Bobcats swept all 6 events, and the team scored a season-best 94.83 in the team event. All 3 pyramid events finished with a score of 9.50 or better, en route to an event score of 29.15. Emily St. Ange starred in the tumbling event, scoring a 9 on the trio pass and a 9.775 in the aerial pass. The Bobcats will host the Iona Gale Saturday for their final home meet of the year. That's all I have for sports. Back to Rose and Patrick at the desk.
Thanks, Patrick. This Tuesday, Sports Communications Program Director Nick Petruskevich invited ESPN social media star Katie Feeney to Quinnipiac for his most recent installment of What's Your Story?
Christina Semenis was there to cover the event for the Q30 Newscast. Christina, what do you have for us?
On Tuesday, Professor Nick Petruskevich hosted this year's final episode of What's Your Story with ESPN content creator Katie Feeney. Students packed the open-air studio to get a chance to talk to Katie.
She shared some insight about what she's learned during her time working in sports media.
And I think I've learned that you constantly have to reinvent yourself in this space, whether it's in sports or in social media or really any job on the creative side.
Katie also talked about her perspective of the future of sports media.
Yes, it might not look like what you grew up watching or what you grew up wanting to do, but if you can get your foot in the door in any aspect of sports, whether you're a girl, whether you're a guy, there's so many more opportunities now.
Professor Petruskevich joked that Katie might have broken the record for the biggest audience at a What's Your Story event. He talked about why so many students were interested in attending.
She's been in that chair that you all are in, that students are in more recently than anybody else, so I think you identify with what she's doing and the content she's producing. So to get her out here, to see everybody excited, to see everybody show up this early to sit down was pretty cool.
But what stood out most was the message Katie had for women interested in going into the sports media field.
I also feel like growing up around sports, there wasn't a lot of women working in that field. So definitely getting to see her, who started at such a young age and has gotten to where she is, and be able to come here and tell us about her experiences, it was really amazing.
Many students definitely got some valuable advice from Katie during this episode of What's Your Story? Reporting from CCE for Q30 News, I'm Christina Semenis.
The annual Shamrock Shuffle took place in Chicago this Sunday, where almost 30,000 participants walked and ran their way through the race. The Shuffle is the first of 3 races in the Bank of America Chicago Distance Series, with the other 2 races taking place in June and October.
Last year, the marathon raised over $47 million for charity and had an almost $240 million financial impact for tourism. The event focuses on involvement in the community and touts itself as a way to ease your way into half marathon and marathon distances. Well, that is unfortunately all the time we have for you guys here on desk. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and X at Q30 News and check us out on our website at Q30TV.com.
As always, thank you to the producers and everyone working hard behind the scenes. For Rose Carrata, I've been Patrick Sorbero. Good night, everyone.